Hello and welcome back to Tinker Talks Guns. Today we're going to talk about something unusual and rather exceptional. The Harrington and Richardson USRA single-shot .22 target pistol. Now, Harrington and Richardson was long known for making guns for the everyday person. Inexpensive revolvers, single-shot shotguns, and things like that. And these were not prestigious by any means. These were for average people to go out and do average things with. Self-defense, target shooting, hunting, whatever. They were, above all, affordable. And now from 1880 until 1940, they made a single-shot .22 caliber pistol. And that was not unusual. What was unusual is that in 1928, they decided that they wanted to make their single-shot .22 pistol the best target pistol in the world. And arguably, they succeeded. Before we get deeper into it, I'd like to thank my Patreon supporters. All of this costs money: ammunition, reloading components, weapons, range memberships. Your contributions help more than you know. I'd also like to thank channel benefactors, specifically the individual collector who allows me to fire and show this weapon to you. They help with firearms that I can talk about and show you, donations of ammunition, etc., and I am very grateful for them. So, in 1928, Harrington and Richardson hired a fellow who had worked for Smith & Wesson and was a renowned target shooter named Walter F. Roper, who had written a book, Experiments of a Handgunner, and later wrote a book, Pistol and Revolver Shooting, about target shooting. And he was a very well-known shooter and firearms engineer, and they gave him a simple brief: turn their single-shot pistol into the best target pistol in the world. And he succeeded, at least arguably. It seems an odd decision for a company that makes affordable weapons for every man, and it's almost certain, given the quality, fit, and finish and small production runs these pistols were made in, that they never directly made a profit on any one of these pistols they sold. So they were, in fact, you could, or when you ordered your pistol, you could send a drawing of your hand and a tracing of your hand and specific dimensions, and Walter Roper would make you a custom individual grip for your USRA pistol. And that's pretty cool. Now, one thing I noted in firing this, which you may have seen evidence of in the video, is that this gun fires both directions. It fires a bullet out this end, and when you open it, the ejector fires the cartridge, the expended cartridge, out past you with considerable force. I kept hearing them bouncing off the wall behind me, which is several feet away. And if it was pointed at your face when you opened it, you would get a nasty, startling surprise. And this is a beautiful gun. The fit and finish is, it's like nothing you're going to see normally from Harrington and Richardson, certainly. And it is a very fine, deep blued finish. The grip is very well shaped, very comfortable in the hand, and it features hand-cut checkering on the sides and on the back strap, which is secured by a single screw here. And it's just a beautiful gun. And this one features a sight protector, which is an add-on item. It's kind of unusual and quite valuable in its own right these days. So let's go to the tabletop and take a closer look at this. One thing you'll notice right away is that this is not at all a small gun. This example has a 10-inch barrel. It's 13 3/4 inches long overall and 5.5 inches high. And as you can see, it is beautifully finished. Nice deep bluing, very well polished surfaces. And it is comparatively feature rich. This one is also in exceptional condition. And here is the add-on, which is sight protector, which is retained by spring pressure. And as you can see, the front sight is adjustable for elevation by this screw. Barrel is well crowned, and it has the slab-sided top rib. And this is the only part of the gun that is not highly polished. It is left in a satin or dark, more of a rough state, so that it won't reflect light and interfere with the sights. The rear sight is adjustable from these screws side to side, and it appears to also be height adjustable via this screw. I'm not certain, but that appears to be the case. Sight pictures, quite good, black on black, as you'd expect from a target pistol. And as I said, the ejector does expel the expended brass with considerable force, and it only opens this far, unlike the revolvers, which would open much farther. And this does appear very much to be a fairly closely related to their revolver frames of the period, as is the trigger guard, very much like the sorts of trigger guards they were putting on revolvers. Now, you can see this is a pretty flat trigger, and there is an over-travel adjustment screw. The lock time is, the travel of the hammer is very short, and the lock time is very, very fast, which also helps with accuracy. Now, this being a rim fire, it cannot be dry fired without risking damage to the breech face or the firing pin. So I am going to insert an empty cartridge while I talk about the trigger, because the trigger is very light and prone to going off when you don't expect it, because it's very light. So, as you can see, when the hammer is cocked, there is no take up on the trigger, and really no over travel. The trigger travel is very short, and I did not measure it, but I am guessing that this trigger pull is well under 2 pounds, which again contributes overall to accuracy, with the long sight radius, the very short lock time, the very excellent trigger. This is an exceptionally accurate pistol, and it's very hard to pin down when these pistols were made, because there's no serial number I can find. But by its features, this is probably a late production gun. Earlier production guns often had a round barrel with a rib, an integral rib attached to the top, and various other changes of features. Earlier guns also often had a round ejector. That's interesting. This fired cartridge is the only one I've seen not ejecting properly, because, well, because it's been fired and probably stepped on, because I pulled it off my shop floor. Typically it shoots them with, as I said, considerable force. And the craftsmanship on this is not typical for Harrington and Richardson. The level of finish, the quality of the fitment, the way it works, just handling this and operating it is a tactile delight, and really a truly exceptional gun. Now, at various times, these were offered with different barrel lengths, and there was constant experimentation. Roper experimented with different rifling pitches, with tapered bores, all manner of different modifications to these guns, and they were often produced just a few at a time, and of course, every single one of them was meticulously hand finished. A total of 3,300 of these were made, so that's not a lot. And here, all these many decades later, as you can guess, they're rather rare and highly coveted. I found a rough one, relatively rough, listed for $999, but I've also seen them listed for as much as $2,000, all depending on the condition, the details, the history, and what have you. And it is a delight to fire this gun. And I'm delighted to have been given the opportunity to show it to you. So, it's a gun I would lust after, but even if I could find one, I'm quite sure I couldn't afford it. So this has been a special opportunity. If you like the video, and if you're still watching, you probably did, please take a few seconds to click the like button because it really helps the channel. If you'd like to see more like this, hit the subscribe and notifications buttons. So, anyway, I hope this finds you well. Stay safe, take care, and we'll talk to you again real soon.